Hello dear friends, welcome back on the tutorials from the Solidworks. Today we will learn how to put the dimensions in our sketch in the Solidworks sketch environment. So in the previous lessons we have learned how to create the simple sketch like a line, circle, rectangle, ellipse, the slot, and so on, all the sketch types. So now we will learn how to put the exact dimensions for these kind of sketches in the SolidWorks using the smart dimension function here, located in the here in the top menu. And let's start to the lesson. So select the front plane, select the sketch. So we will see for the beginning step by step all the sketch and how to put the sketch, and we will go with the further more the details. So for example, let's create a line. For example, let's create the horizontal line firstly, and let's create some inclined line, and let's create the one vertical straight line. So we have the straight line. Let's start with the simplest one. So here, in order to put the dimension for this line, we use the smart dimension here. If you open the smart dimension, there is several options to put the dimension to the sketch, but the simple and very efficient one is only to use the smart dimension in the most cases. So for the beginning, we will see this option. Next, then we will see the other options, how it is different in the other options. So in order to put the dimension for the sketch, select the smart dimension. Here you see it selected, and for example, I want to put the dimension for this line to this horizontal line, and select this horizontal line, and drag your the mouse up or down. You see the dimension is creating, and press any point, and you see there is a dimension in the millimeter. So let's put any value as you want, for example 100, and press enter. You see that this dimension is changed to the 100 millimeter, and close this one. So you see here this change to the 100 millimeter. So it is how to put the dimension, the smart dimension, to the horizontal line. For example, if you have the vertical line, select the smart dimension, and select your the second line is the vertical line, and drag your mouse to the right or the left to specify the second point, and specify the second point, and here to insert any value, for example 120 millimeter for this vertical line, and press enter to change the value. You see it is changed to the 102 millimeter. Let's hide this move here to this position. So this is the second option to put the dimension. So now we will see the put the dimension for this kind of sketch, the inclined line. So select the smart dimension, and if you select the sketch, their inclined line, there you will have the three options to put the dimension for this one. For example, if you drag your mouse to the right side, you see it will show exactly the vertical dimension. If you draw to the downward or the upward, it will show it the horizontal the dimension of this inclined line. If you drag it to the inclined, it will show the actual line of this the inclined line. So you will have the options that it all works automatically, that generate the options according to the movement of the mouse for this kind of the sketch. If you want, for example, the actual length, in this case this one, and let's make it 110 millimeter, press enter. So the same way we have the two such a inclined line like this, we can make it line the dimension, for example the vertical dimension 100 millimeter, and select the smart dimension, and select the inclined line, and drag to the downward, and make it, for example, again 100 millimeters. So this is how to put the dimension for the simple sketch for the line. Now we will see the next option to put the smart dimension for the circle. So select the circle and select the circle and draw the circle, any circle like this, and close the circle, and this is our circle. So to put the dimension for the circle, again select the smart dimension. So it's selected, and select your circle and drag your mouse. So here you see the diameter will be represented the here, and press any point and specify the value of the circle is the diameter in a millimeter. So press enter. So 250 millimeter, press enter, so it will be changed to the 250 millimeter. So this is the how to put the dimension for the circle. It represents in the SolidWorks in the case of the diameter. For example, here I already specified the dimension is 250 millimeter. So in some cases, if you want to change this dimension, just double click to this dimension. Here is 250 millimeter, and you can change it by typing the end value again, for example, 200 millimeter, and press enter. So in this case, it is changed. The same way, you can change any values when you put the dimension for the any other sketch. For example, the horizontal line, it was 100 millimeter, and double click to the 100 millimeter, and for example, let's make it 130 millimeter. Press enter from the keyboard, so it changed to 130 millimeter. If you select the dimension here, in the left side, in the dimension menu, you see that there is several options for the dimension. Even if you can see here that the actual dimension is 130 millimeter, you can also change the dimension from this side, from the left side. You can put any the tolerance values and so on. So you will see the other options in the detail in other lessons. So this is the just how to change the dimensions. That's all of the sketch. So in the case of the circle, it will represent the diameter. For example, in the case of the arc, we already seen how to create the arc. So for example, let's create the arc. For example, the 3-point arc, this point, second point, and the third point, and close the arc dialog. So if you want to represent the dimension of the arc, select the smart dimension and select your the arc and drag your the mouse and specify the second point. And in this case, we enter the values at 200 millimeters. So the difference between the arc and the circle in the putting of the dimension in the smart dimension in the circle, it represents a diameter. You see the symbol. In the case of the arc, it represents the radius. So it is the difference. So here the radius and here the diameter. So this is the difference between the inserting the dimension in the circle and the arc. So next is the rectangle. So select the rectangle, the sketch, and select any rectangle. Close the dialog box of the rectangle, and let's put the dimension for the rectangle. So select the smart dimension. So in order to put the dimension in the rectangle, you can just select the side of the rectangle like this side or this side, and drag your mouse to put the specify the second point. For example, select this line and drag your the mouse, specify the second point, and put the insert value, for example 200 400 millimeter, press enter. So this is the side of the rectangle. So select the smart dimension. In order to specify the second, you can use the second option by the clicking the points, for example this point and at this point drag your mouse and enter the value, for example 600 millimeter, plus enter. So this is the too simple to insert the dimension for the rectangle. You can put using the sides, or you can insert the dimension just with the points. So this is the in the case of the rectangle. So let's now to put dimension for the ellipse. So for the beginning, let's create the ellipse. Select the ellipse, select the center point, draw the ellipse as you want any ellipse. So here close the ellipse dialog box. So here the ellipse created. So as we know, in the ellipse we have the two main parameters, so the major and the minor diameters. So the major is the big diameter and minor is the smallest diameter, smallest radius of the ellipse. So in this case, in order to specify the dimension, we will use these two the parameters. So select the smart dimension and select, this is our center point, select center point and select this control point and drag your mouse in order to specify the major diameter. So put the value, for example 400 millimeter, press enter, so it will change it. Again select the smart dimension and select again the center point and select this second control point or the upper or the down to specify the minor diameter, the radius. So in this case, this one, for example, drag your mouse and specify the any value, example 200 millimeter, press enter. So in this case, we define the dimension of the ellipse. In the case of the major diameter 400 millimeter and the minor diameter is the 200 millimeter. So this is how to put the dimension using the smart dimension tool in the ellipse. So next, the sketch was for example, the polygon. So we learned how to create the polygon. This is the number of the sides of the polygon. Here we can create the polygon using the inscribe the circle or circumscribe the circle. It does not matter for the now. Let's create with the inner circle. So specify the center point, drag your mouse to specify second point. So close the polygon. So here to specify the dimension for the polygon, we have the two options using the smart dimension. Select the smart dimension. We can insert the dimension of the polygon by specifying the radius, the diameter of this inner circle, or just specifying the length of the side of the polygon. For example, using the circle, so specify select the circle, drag your the mouse. So here let's put the value, for example 100 millimeter, press enter. So in this case we can specify the dimension for the polygon. For example, we can insert the polygon dimension. For example, create the polygon using just select the smart dimension using the specifying the side, for example in this case this side, and make it for 500. The same way, if you create the polygon with the outer radius, outer circle, you can, for example in this case, you can define the dimension of the polygon, select the smart dimension using putting the dimension for the circle like this, or you can put the value for the side of the polygon. So this is how to put the dimension for the polygon. So these two methods. Now let's see the last option, how to put the dimension for the slot. So we learned also how to create a slot. There's several options. So let's create the straight slot with the 3 points, the first point, second point, and third point, and close this one. So here select the smart dimension again, and if you want to put the dimension for the slot, so for the beginning it's the length, for example this one, select this center line and put the dimension, for example 1000 millimeter, and the smart dimension, and select this point and this point. Not to find it is the height, for example so this is how to put the dimension for the case of the slot. So this is the options how to put dimension in a simple sketch. So let's close this one, finish this one, and then let's delete this one, and then let's see the other options how to create the dimension. And select the front plane, select the sketch again, and select the little bit more complicated. So for example, for the beginning, let's create the inclined line, and here we have several options. this part of the smart dimension. Let's make horizontal. Select the horizontal. In the case of the horizontal, if you have the inclined line and select your inclined line, and if you move the mouse, it will only represent the horizontal dimension, because we are here, we have the restricted it in the case of the horizontal. So that's why this is the only put the horizontal dimension. Or you can put here the vertical restriction. You see, in this case of the inclined line, if you draw the if you put the dimension, it will restrict only the vertical dimension for the inclined line. If you just select the smart dimension as we did in the previous examples, so in the case of the smart dimension, just the smart dimension here, if you select the inclined line, and if you move in the right side on the left side, it will represent vertical line. If you move here the up and down, it will represent horizontal dimension. Or even if you can specify it is the actual length by the moving a little bit in the inclined direction. So this is the how is the difference between the smart dimension, horizontal dimension, and vertical dimension. So you can in some cases restrict the option of the putting the dimension, but most of use it is the just smart dimension. This is the how is different this one. So in the putting that dimension. So let's create again another sketch, for example, sketch. So using the line, you see the other options of the putting the dimension here in the menu of the smart dimension. So here, second option is the baseline. So in the case of the baseline, you see here it represents the dimension according to the baseline. For example, here the baseline is selected, and I will select the baseline as this one, this vertical line, and select the next is this line. You see it will represent the dimension from this one, and from this baseline, this length, and select again second line. For example, it represents this dimension. So here this is the baseline. So according to the baseline, this dimension is represented this vertical dimension. So then if you want to change these values, just double click to the values. For example, let's make it 120 millimeter, press enter. So it will become, so this length will count to 120 millimeter, and double click for this value and make it 300 millimeters and press enter. So this is the based on the baseline here. You can also select the baseline as the horizontal line. So select this line as a baseline and select this one. So you see the dimension is created, and second the line according to this one, and close this one. Let's bring this value here. So here we can change the values, double clicking here again. Let's make it just example 120 millimeter this length, and let's make it 200 millimeters. So this is the options the using the putting the dimension using the baseline. The chain dimension is almost the same as a baseline, but it represents here, for example, let's see the difference between the baseline and the chain. Let's create again almost the same sketch using the line. So let's make it horizontal. So open here, chain, select as a baseline this one, and select this one. So and select this one second. So you see the difference between the baseline and the chain here. In the baseline, it will represent the dimension according to the baseline. In the chain, it represents just these dimensions. So this is the difference between the baseline and the chain. The same way, if you want to change the values, double click for double click to this one. So in here, let me, so double click and you can change the values here. So this is the difference between the baseline and the chain. So let's see the important options. For example, ordinate dimension, the horizontal ordinate dimension, and the vertical ordinate dimension. They are almost the same, and it looks like for this baseline. But anyway, let's see. They are not so frequently used in the putting in the sketching the dimensions and so on. They are mostly used in the case of the drawing and the other options. So in the case of the sketching, most of the usage is just smart dimension. Anyway, let's see the ordinate dimension. In the ordinate dimension, we will select for the beginning 0 point. There's this one, and select, for example, this one, select this one, and select this one. So you see, this is the 0 point. And let's drag this one, and this is the value in this distance, and this is the value from the 0 point. So this is the almost the same according to this baseline option. So this is the ordinate option. So how to put the ordinate dimension? So the same way we can create the horizontal the ordinate dimension. So let's create the sketch again. In this case, we will just restrict our the ordinate dimension in the horizontal. So select the 0 point, select this point, this point. So this is the distance between this one, and select the second point, and this is the distance between the 0 to this length, so to the total length of this one. So we will only the restricted, it is in the horizontal. The same way we can create the vertical vertical ordinate dimension. So in this case, select the 0 point, this one, select the second point, and this is the distance, and select the second point, this one. So let's drag this value. The this one is not created. The second point that I will create again, vertical dimension, this one. Let I delete this one, create one more time again. So vertical alternate 0 point. So that's this one, second point, and let's create this one. This one is not creating. Okay, so this is this distance, and you can change the values. Double clicking here, 220 for example. Press enter. So this is the how to use the smart dimension and putting the dimensions in the sketch in the SolidWorks. So most of the cases, the very easiest and the quickest way is using the smart dimension, as we have seen. In some cases, then you can use with some restrictions, other options.